Hello everyone. Welcome to all of you for this quick video over the ORAN for 5G new radio. So in this video, we are going to cover about the path to ORAN, the ORAN architecture and its work groups, and the ORAN deployment example. So about path to ORAN, why we are moving towards the ORAN. So traditionally we have had a distributed RAN. We called it as a DRAN also in some areas, a DRAN. Then the first step towards was about Cloud RAN or getting a virtualized RAN, and now we are moving towards the Open RAN. One thing is common between all these options is that our L1, that is layer 1, our layer 2 and layer 3 will be contained in these networks. It will include all those protocol sublayers like RRC, SDAP, PDCP, RLC, MAC and physical layer. So these three different layers L1, L2, L3 containing all these protocol sublayers will be used here in all of the RAN networks. Traditional RAN, Cloud RAN, that is virtual RAN, and the Open RAN. So let's first understand what is DRAN, what is the CRAN, and what is our ORAN. So traditionally with the 2G network, with 3G, and even in the 4G networks, we have witnessed the deployments about traditional distributed RAN. So here the key issue was about vendor lock-in. So if a vendor is deploying its baseband, then that baseband cannot interoperate with the radio of a other OEM. That was the trouble point with that one, and it was a very high OPEX as well as CAPEX in these type of deployments. Here comes the first stage when we try to make something virtualized. So the Cloud RAN or the virtual RAN gave the first impression to use a cloud technology, that was NFV, to create our virtualized baseband. So this type of Cloud RAN or virtual RAN was from the same vendor. That means all L1, L2 and L3 came from the same vendor. The radio, the baseband, everything. But the only thing is the underlying hardware, that we call it NFVI, or the underlying hardware, that was the only choice that the mobile network operator has. Other than that, the virtualized BBU and the required radio was coming from the same vendor, that is OEM. So it has some flexibility in terms of the cloud. It has some flexibility to choose your NFVI, but when we check about the RAN components of L1, L2 and L3 layer, we don't have that flexibility. So ORAN is now getting that type of, we can say, network which is going to help customer to choose different components performing L2, L3 and L1 functionality, and finding out the best read of the network components to select. So the same type of hardware that we have here as of the NFVI will be there, and our L1, L2 and L3 components of the RAN network might be supplied from different vendors. So that is our Open RAN. It gives you flexibility to choose any CU, any DU or any of the radio network, the radio units. It gives you Open RAN. So here the operator has the choice to use three vendors, two vendors or a single vendor, but the operator has that freedom to choose the best component they want to have in a disaggregated format of the RAN architecture. So this ORAN that I am going to discuss now is about the ORAN Alliance. So ORAN Alliance was founded in 2018 by a group of mobile operators. Now around 23 mobile network operators are part of this ORAN Alliance and they are as members. Other than these operators, we have around or more than 140 RAN solutions provider who provides the component in terms of software or the hardware. So these solution providers are working in the ORAN Alliance and they are working as contributors. When we discuss about ORAN, so ORAN is about getting an architecture, getting a RAN platform, or I would say a RAN architecture for 5G and the 4G, that is having the operator defined next generation RAN architecture and interfaces, that is open interfaces, with the key objective of transforming the radio access network towards a open, intelligent, virtualized and fully interoperable RAN that provides flexibility to the MNOs, that is our operators, to choose the best breed of RAN components for the deployment of their next generation mobile networks. The ORAN architecture and the work groups. So this is the architecture that we have for ORAN. If you see this diagram, here the CU, DU and RU, that are the components that we also see in the 3GPP diagrams. First of all, the ORAN architecture is consistent with the 3GPP architecture and they are enhancing it internally. So here, other than CU, DU and RU, as I told earlier, we have a NFVI platform, that is a code server and a codes hardware used there, that is there. But what is the addition in the Open RAN is that they have added the RAN intelligent controller near real time, and again here one more box, that is ONAP. So this ONAP or MANO or the network management system is containing this one, that is RAN intelligent controller for non-real time. So these are the two boxes where the ORAN architecture provides an edge as compared to a traditional architecture. So let's understand the functionality of both these two boxes that we have. So first of all, this orchestration and automation. It is also termed as SMO in some of the diagrams. That means service management and orchestration. So this SMO may provide management services that go well beyond RAN management and can include core network, transport, slice management. For the RAN management perspective, the SMO services are FCAPs, that is fault, configuration, alarms, performance, and security interfaces for the ORAN network functions. And it has the non-real-time RAN intelligent controller for the RAN optimization. It also has connection to the O cloud management, orchestration, and the flow management. So after coming that from this box, now we are just checking this particular subsection of this box, that is RAN intelligent controller on a non-real-time basis. So this non-real-time RAN intelligent controller, it is an internal functionality to the SMO, that is service management and orchestration, that provides the A1 interface to the near real-time RIC. So these are connected by this A1 interface. The primary goal of this non-real-time RIC is to support the intelligent RAN optimization by providing policy-based guidance, machine learning model management, and enrichment of the information to the near real-time RIC function so that the RAN can optimize the functionality of RRM, that is radio resource management. This non-real-time RIC can use data analytics and AI/ML training inference to determine the RAN optimization actions for which it can leverage the SMO services such as data collection and provisioning of services of the Open RAN nodes. Now coming to our RIC of the real time. So this box here is our RAN intelligent controller for the real time. It's a near real time. It has multiple boxes here where we can see that in the application layer we have third party apps, we have radio connection management, we have mobility management, quality of service management, interference management, and trained model. In, in addition, it also has that radio network information base. So what is the functionality of this near real-time RIC. So it's a logical function that enables near real-time control and optimization of E2 nodes function. If you see here, our RIC box is connected to our CU as well as DU by means of E2 interface, and here also our E2 interface. So this E2 interface that we have, it's a connection between our RIC near real time and our RAM components. So how it helps is that we get the fine grained data collection and actions over the E2 interface with control loops in the order of 10 millisecond to 1 millisecond. So this control loop here, it is from 10 milliseconds to 1 millisecond. The real-time RIC host one or more applications that uses the E2 interface to collect the near real-time information, the UE basis or the cell basis there, and the radio resource management functionality or that functionality allocation between the near real-time RIC and the E2 node, that is here, not this one is this RM functional allocation between the near real-time RIC and the E2 node is subject to the capability of the E2 nodes exposed over the E2 interface by means of the E2 services model. In the event, it may be a scenario where your RIC functionality or RIC module is not properly functional. So what will happen in that case? So in the event of such a time that RT, that is our real time RIC failure is there, and the E2 node will be able to provide services at that time. That means our CU, our DU, our RU are functional and they are providing their services. But there may be an outage for certain value added services that may only be provided by using the near real time RIC. So these two boxes that we have, that is real time RIC and non real time RIC in our SMO, both these modules or both these functional components of ORAN architecture are about adding more and more intelligence in our system by the means of data collection, analytics, provisioning. So this is the add-on that we have in our 5G ORAN architecture. And ORAN Alliance has defined different work groups as they are mentioned here. So work group 1 is about use cases and overall architecture work group. Work group 2 is about the non-real time RAN intelligent controller and the A1 interface work group. The work group 3 is about the near real time RAN intelligent controller and E2 interface work group. Work group 4 is about open front hole interfaces work group. So here between our DU and our radio, this is our open front hole. The names this is explaining that DU is coming from a different vendor, let's say X, and the radio is coming from a different vendor Y. That's why we need a open front hole interface by which our components ODU and ORU can interwork with each other for the functionality part. Work group 5 is about the interfaces like F1, W1, E1, X2 and XN, whereas WG6, that is work group 6, is about the cloudification and orchestration part. Work group 7 is specific to our radio white box. This should be an open block which can work, which can interwork actually with any of the DU that is chosen by the customer. Work group 8 is about the stack reference design work group. That means the protocol sublayers design inside our CU and DU. So this work group is about those. And in the last we have work group number 9, that is about open xHole transport work group. So all these work groups are part of the ORAN architecture and they are taking care of their defined responsibilities to achieve this architecture. And this architecture should be open, intelligent, and it should have the content about intelligence and machine learning based models and allowing the system to optimize the radio resources to its optimum value. About the ORAN deployment example. So recently, whole the world knows that Rakuten has just deployed a cloud native network that is for 4G, and they are going to do the same with their future plan of 5G network also. So Rakuten Japan has deployed that ORAN, and if you can see the diagram here, this is from Cisco. It's a really good diagram, and here you can see if I just focus on the RAN side, because I am considering only our Open RAN. So in this Open RAN, the underlying hardware, that is servers, they might be coming from Cisco. The switch are coming from the Nexus. The VCU and VDU are coming from the Altiostar. And then these final radios, if you can see here, they are coming from different vendors like Nokia and ASPAN, and also heard about NEC coming to be working with Rakuten now. So we have three different vendors, just assuming in the radio side only. We have a vendor which is providing VCU and VDU, and the underlying hardware are coming from different vendors. So if we just make a combination, so it is like VCU video, the first vendor, Altiostar. Then we have Cisco as the underlying hardware. Then we have Nexus as the next switching part. And in the radio side, we have around three vendors. So just making a rough count, we are having around six different vendors working in the RAN environment or the RAN architecture, which was earlier specifically considering RAN only. It was traditionally going towards a single vendor, but now we have six vendors. So this aggregation of the RAN components is the vision of the ORAN. Thank you.